She owns over 4,000 pieces of clothing, more than 250 pairs of shoes, and hundreds of hats, bags, and jewelry items. Her collection is so vast that she reportedly has a separate apartment just for her clothes.
Now, your materialistic life, you must live it as if you're going to die today. Your spiritual life, you must do it that you are eternal, not the other way around. Don't say this to everything.
Wherever you went, somebody stuffed something into your head. You had no choice from where to receive, where not to receive. If you say, I don't like this man, I don't want to receive anything from him, you will receive much more from him than anybody else. If you're somebody you know very well, somebody whom you're very familiar with is walking 1 mile away, you can't recognize anything about that person, but just the way he moves, you know it is this person, isn't it? Because the very way his body moves, only moves whichever way his software is written. But this software was written unconsciously. Now, if we want some freedom to happen, if we want some transformation to happen, we have to create a little space between you and your software.
Once you walk the spiritual path, this question and this struggle of how much of the spiritual process should I do and how much of whatever is called as life I should do. And for most people the struggle is when they're involved in their day-to-day materialistic functions of life, they will long for the spiritual process. If you give them a spiritual process, they will long to go back to their materialistic way of life. So how much of what or how should I do these two things? You should do your materialistic life. When we say materialistic, that which concerns and satisfies one's physical body and one's mind is materialistic life. It's not right to divide this, but anyway, invariably people divide it. So that which satisfies your body and your mind, how much of it you should do or how you should do means you must do it like you are going to live forever. How much or how I should do my spiritual process, you must do it like today is your last day. Which way is it? Now, on a certain day, a hunter caught a little bird, a tiny little bird. And he was about to take its life. Then the little bird said, "You have caught and eaten many far bigger animals in your life, but it has not satisfied your hunger. Me, a little bird, this much I am. What can I do for you? So why kill me? If you allow me to live, I'll give you 3 invaluable teachings with which your life will be phenomenally rich. One teaching I will give you when I'm still in your hand. The second teaching I will give you when I sit upon the roof of your house. The third teaching I'll give you when I sit on top of the tree. Then the hunter thought about it, looked at this little bird. It doesn't even work as an appetizer, too small. So he said, okay, give me the teaching. The first teaching that the bird gave is, does not matter who, whatever pronouncements they make, don't ever believe it. Took off from his hand, went and sat on top of the roof. And then he said, you fool, you let me go. Do you know who I am? Within my belly, I have a diamond which weighs 5 ounces. Then the man started wailing about his misfortune. Oh, such a huge diamond, I let it go. What a fool I am. Then the bird said, you are definitely a fool. I already told you, never believe any pronouncements made by anybody, whoever they may be. See, I weigh just 2 ounces. How can I have a diamond 5 ounces in my belly, you fool? So the second teaching is, never look back and regret at anything that is past. And then flew and went and sat on top of the bird. The man started screaming and wailing, no, I missed the diamond, now you're telling me not to regret, you fooled me. And the bird went and sat there and waited. Then he recovered, okay, never regret for what has happened. Okay, tell me, what's the third teaching? The bird said, anyway, you did not listen to the first two. What is the use of the third? Never waste your energies and wisdom upon those who don't listen. That's the third teaching, and flew away. Now, whatever I say, it's not going to work. Now, your materialistic life, you must live it as if you're going to die today. Your spiritual life, you must do it that you are eternal, not the other way around. Don't say this to everything. No, Sadhguru, whatever you say. That's not true. If that is really true, that you have become like this, that there is no value for reason in your life. You have become a devotee and there is no value for reason. Then all these teachings no good, don't bother, just… when we were doing the wholeness program, the 90-day program, this is a place where we went about exploring and revealing various aspects of life which they had never thought was possible. As we went by, every time I ask a question and ask yes or no. After some time, some of them at least, their logic was completely defeated. They said, there's no point, Sadhguru, we're saying yes, no, no good. We're yes and yes. When I came one day, they had written on a big board, Sadhguru, yes and yes. So if you have realized there's no value for your logic, then, yeah, everything doesn't matter. You don't even have to do this. You don't even have to say yes. But when you still live by logic, whatever is said by whoever, You have to put it to the test of your logic. Because if you do not do that, your logic will not evolve. Logic is a horrible thing if it is in a rudimentary condition. If you refine your logic, it can be the way to your liberation. It can be a stepping stone to your liberation if you refine it. If it's in a rudimentary condition, it is a horrible thing. It blocks you from everything, it makes you suspicious about everything. It will not let you experience anything. So, you've not given up your logic, have you? You're not listening, that's why. If you live your materialistic life like you're going to live forever, what will you do? You will buy 1,673 pairs of shoes. I went to somebody's house in the United States and I was sitting in their house and then I needed to use the bathroom. So I went and opened the door thinking that is the bathroom. I opened, it was a large room, about, let's say, one segment of this hall like this. And it was full of shoes. Hundreds of pairs of shoes. I looked, are they in some kind of shoe business? Then I came out and the lady of the house was trying to guide me to the bathroom. Then I asked, what are all those shoes? She said, oh, no. Not 2 dozens, hundreds of shoes. No. I'm buying shoes for 12 lifetimes I've bought and kept, just in case when I come back. If the shoe price is high in my next life, I've already bought them and kept. So you don't live your materialistic life like you're going to live forever. You live your materialistic life like today is the last day. You live your spiritual life like you're eternal. So without listening, without applying your logic, don't say yes, unless you become just yes and yes.
So, technology. Because the technology is subjective. Now the technologies that you're handling are objective technologies. Now I'm talking about a subjective technology. It's about you. Here, you are the software that you're trying to handle. Fundamentally, if you look at yourself, right now you are operating according to the software that you have become. Please see. What kind of family you were born in, what kind of parents, what kind of school, what kind of friends, what kind of atmosphere, what kind of religion, what kind of society, that's the kind of person you are right now, isn't it? So, software was written into you haphazardly by anybody and everybody that you came in touch with, not by trained professionals, just about anybody who came, they put in something. Wherever you went, somebody stuffed something into your head. You had no choice from where to receive, where not to receive. If you say, I don't like this man, I don't want to receive anything from him, you will receive much more from him than anybody else. That's how this one is. So right now, the very way you think, feel, understand and act in your life is just the way your software is, isn't it? Yes? The very way you move your body is the way your software is. I want you to understand this. It is so deeply conditioned. If you are somebody you know very well, somebody whom you are very familiar with is walking 1 mile away, you can't recognize anything about that person, but just the way he moves, you know it is this person, isn't it? Because the very way his body moves, only moves whichever way his software is written. But this software was written unconsciously. Now, if we want some freedom to happen, if we want some transformation to happen, We have to create a little space between you and your software. You're too identified with it, you're just lost in it, that's all you become. Now you have to create a little distance. You've heard of a word called Buddha? If I say Buddha, probably you always think of Gautama the Buddha. Gautama is not the only Buddha. That's not his name. He became a Buddha. There have been thousands of Buddhas, and there still are. What Buddha means is, Bu means buddhi, or the intellect. Da means dada, one who is above. One who is above his intellect is a Buddha. Once you're above the intellectual process, suffering is finished in your life, because all suffering is manufactured there in your logical mind. When you are into your intellect, when you are stuck in your intellect, you are a non-stop suffering human being. Wherever you put, you have a way of creating some kind of suffering. Your fears, your anxieties, your tensions, your stress. Just see, people are capable of suffering just about anything. Yes? Isn't it so? People are capable of suffering just about anything in the world. Please see. If you're not educated, you will suffer that. If you get educated, you suffer that. If you don't find a job, you'll suffer that. If you find a job, you suffer that. If you're not married, you'll suffer that. If you get married, you suffer that. If you don't have children, you suffer that. If you have children, you suffer that. Isn't it? People are capable of suffering just about anything. This is the nature of the intellect. Once you are into the intellect, this is how life is. If you are below the intellect, you won't suffer so much. Animals don't suffer as much as you suffer. Physical things, if they're taken care of, they're quite okay. They don't have the kind of suffering that human beings know, isn't it? So if you're below the intellect, you don't suffer so much. Like you asked that question. If you're above the intellect, you're a Buddha. If you're below the intellect, maybe we can call you Buddhu. If you're in the intellect, non-stop suffering. So, to avoid suffering, people are inventing many ways to go below the intellect. Excessive eating, alcohol, excessive indulgence in physical pleasures. These are all the ways you're trying to avoid the torment of the intellect for some time. You get drunk and you feel good for a few hours, but then life will catch up with you with more intensity. It won't let you go. Now, this being which was below the intellect somehow evolved into the intellect. The only way out for this is to evolve beyond the intellect. So, the fundamentals of yoga, the technology is how to go beyond this. So, how to do it now? Subjective technologies cannot be explored in uncommitted atmospheres. You need a very committed, focused atmosphere, otherwise it will not be in your grasp. It's not a teaching, it's a method. To implement a method, you need to be in a certain way, in a certain level of commitment, in a certain level of receptivity, otherwise it doesn't work. Because, see, now if you go into a chemistry laboratory, you take this chemical, if you put it into it, something happens. But if you're not willing to put it into it, if you sit here and think, what will this do, what will that do, you will come to all kinds of wrong conclusions. Till you put it there, you won't know. Maybe it'll explode in your face, but till you put it there, you will not know what it is about. But now, you are the chemical, you are the chemist, and you are the experimental process. Everything is you. Now you need a different kind of laboratory, otherwise it doesn't work. If it was objective, we could have just written a book and given it to you. But because it's subjective, you have to be taken step by step, because it's a completely different dimension of perception and experience altogether. But is it possible for me? It is possible for every human being. Internally, all of us are equally capable. We are not capable in different ways. All of us are capable of joy, isn't it? Yes? If you have been joyful for one moment, that means you're capable of joy, isn't it? It is just that you're unable to stay there. That's the whole thing. There is no human being on the planet who's never been joyful. Every human being has been joyful at some point. That means he's capable of joy. It is just that he's unable to stay there. So he needs a technology as to how to maintain the atmosphere within himself. It's possible.
Here are few individuals known for their extensive and materialistic collections. Imelda Marcos. Imelda Marcos, the former First Lady of the Philippines, is famously known for her vast shoe collection, estimated to be around 3,000 pairs. She also had thousands of pieces of clothing and accessories, including designer dresses, handbags and jewelry. Her extravagant collection became a symbol of excess during her husband's presidency. Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner, the American media personality and businesswoman, has an impressive collection of luxury items. She owns hundreds of high-end handbags, with estimates suggesting she has between 400 to 600 bags from brands like Hermes, Chanel and Louis Vuitton. Her shoe and clothing collections are extensive, with numerous designer outfits and accessories, though exact counts are not readily available. Anna Della Russo. Anna Della Russo, the Italian fashion journalist and editor-at-large for Vogue Japan, is renowned for her extravagant fashion collection. She owns over 4,000 pieces of clothing, more than 250 pairs of shoes and hundreds of hats, bags and jewelry items. Her collection is so vast that she reportedly has a separate apartment just for her clothes. Tamara Ecclestone. Tamara Ecclestone, the British socialite and daughter of Formula One mogul Bernie Ecclestone, has an extensive collection of luxury items. She owns hundreds of handbags, including many from top brands such as Hermes and Chanel. Her shoe collection includes hundreds of pairs of designer shoes, and her wardrobe is filled with high-end fashion pieces. Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, the American media personality and businesswoman, has a vast collection of luxury fashion items. She owns hundreds of handbags, including rare and limited edition pieces from top luxury brands. Her shoe collection includes hundreds of pairs from designers like Christian Louboutin and Yeezy. Additionally, she has thousands of designer outfits, often custom-made or exclusive pieces, reflecting her influence in the fashion world.